Certain water slides found in today's amusement parks seem inappropriate for existence. In today's episode, we'll explore 10 such slides. Leading the list is the vertigo water slide, followed by the steamer and aquasphere slide. Keep watching until the end to discover our top choice. Vertigo water slide. The vertigo slide, standing at a height of 108 feet in Aqualandia, Benidorm, Spain, is not for the faint of heart. Individuals daring enough to take on this slide are among the most adventurous on the planet. Riders experience a thrilling descent through a trapdoor, down a steep slide, and into the water. A true adrenaline rush for those who successfully navigate the trapdoor. According to reports from the Australian Broadcasting Corporation, British tourist Jamie Norman enjoyed the ride so much that he braved it 3 times. However, his third attempt took a tragic turn when the trapdoor failed to open, resulting in severe injuries to his legs, arms, and face. By the time he reached the bottom of the pool, he was covered in blood. Emergency treatment was administered on site, and he was swiftly evacuated from the water park. Surprisingly, the slide reopened just 10 minutes after the accident, without sufficient time for proper cleanup of the initial bloodstains. This incident wasn't an isolated one, as in July 2019, another visitor in the same park suffered a broken back while riding the splash slide. Upon hitting the water, the tourist was rendered unconscious. The steamer water slide. Under no circumstances should you attempt the steamer water slide, known as one of the most perilous slides globally. Housed in Calypso Water Park, this ride has sparked controversy among safety experts. The park seems to operate a hazardous facility while feigning ignorance. Unfortunately, this charade has led to an increasing number of casualties as more individuals venture into the experience. Experts liken the ride to sinking into a toilet bowl, as riders sit in tubes and navigate a giant funnel before being propelled into an exit slot. Although it may initially seem like a thrilling activity for a perfect getaway, the fun turns into a serious concern if the inner tube fails to flip over before reaching the exit. Alarming accusations suggest that the park intentionally concealed critical information, sneaking injured riders out of the slide for treatment and discouraging them from disclosing the incidents. Eventually, the park faced 20 safety violations, which were later dropped due to a lack of evidence. Calypso refused to take responsibility for the allegations, even shifting blame to the safety inspector. Despite this controversy, the steamer slide continues to operate to this day. Aquasphere water slide. No matter how close-knit a family may be, the joy of a vacation is swiftly replaced with concern when spent in a hospital emergency room. With this in mind, families should conduct thorough research before choosing the Peninsula Aquatic Recreation Center as their vacation destination, where parents may find themselves watching their children undergo treatment for injuries sustained on the slides. The park is home to a couple of infamous drops that have been associated with numerous accidents. On one occasion, 2 riders collided with each other inside the slide's tunnel, resulting in head injuries and leading to a 10-month closure of the slide. However, shortly after its reopening, another accident occurred involving a woman who experienced severe back pain after riding the aquasphere. A boy also fell off a tube, enduring rough contact with the ride's interior before requiring medical attention. Witnesses reported the boy remaining unconscious for 15 minutes when the facility reopened in September 2014. Notably, the slide faced further issues when it didn't open due to some employees testing it and suffering minor injuries, adding weight to the argument that the slide was not safe for human use. Consequently, the slide was dismantled and reconstructed to adhere to standard safety procedures. Action Park Slide. Who isn't familiar with Action Park and the excitement it offers? This destination stands out as one of the most infamous water parks globally, earning alternative names like Traction Park or Class Action Park. Its notoriety reached a peak leading to closure in 1996, following 6 fatalities and numerous injuries, the count of which became challenging due to their frequency. Despite their troubled history, the park was reopened in 2010, with the owners showing little remorse for the tragic events of the past years. In fact, they even produced shirts bearing the phrase, "I survived Action Park," as if surviving the park were an exceptional feat given its reputation. Among the park's notorious attractions, Cannonball Fall takes the dubious honor of being one of the world's worst rides. Involving a 10-foot drop into a mountain pool, it held the title of the most dangerous ride in New Jersey, causing 6 injuries in 2015 alone. However, this pales in comparison to the overall injury count in Action Park in 2012. Recognizing the severity of the situation, Cannonball Falls was permanently closed before the end of the 2015 season to ensure the safety of future riders. Abrasion Scoot Water Slide. When designing a water slide, one of the crucial considerations revolves around the edges. Designers exercise caution to avoid incorporating sharp edges that could pose harm to riders. However, their caution can only go so far, as there might still be potentially hazardous seams that could cause injury upon impact. Consider a slide at Action Park that took a unique approach. Instead of seams, it featured metal rollers. The idea was to construct a slide using warehouse rollers because a fast flow of water was deemed insufficiently abrasive. Riders on the abrasion scoot slid down the plastic sled, gaining speed and skipping across the water at the bottom like a flat stone. The challenge with this slide was that if riders weren't positioned at the right angle in the sled, they risked being flung off. Moreover, the pool's depth was only 2 feet, resulting in riders hitting their heads on concrete if they fell off. Unfortunately, some riders were not fortunate enough to remain on the sled during their descent, leading to head injuries upon entering the pool. Compounding the safety concerns, the park's employees displayed impatience by not waiting for one rider to exit the pool before sending down another, further escalating the risk of accidents. Black Hole. While the Wet n Wild Water Park promises excitement, the thrill comes with a caveat. There's a risk to life involved. This infamous park has garnered attention, especially from those who have narrowly escaped fatal incidents there. The epicenter of many of the park's troubles revolves around a ride known as the Black Hole, a twisting experience where guests descend a dark tube on a 2-person float. One notable incident occurred in 1994, resulting in severe injury to a man who later won a $1.73 million judgment against the amusement park in 2000. The victim claimed he was struck by an object in the dark, only to find himself at the bottom with paralyzed legs. The park pleaded ignorance, which proved to be an inadequate excuse. During the trial, employees testified that rafts were frequently getting stuck, leading attendants to send in new ones before the first had exited. This man's injuries were among the worst attributed to the Black Hole, and while other incidents occurred, many went unreported due to the fear of the unknown. Additional injuries transpired in the darkness, and when the place was eventually sealed off, it came as a relief to many who sought a respite from the dangers lurking within the park. Varrocked Water Slide. Tragically, individuals venture out from their homes, seeking amusement in parks, only to encounter situations where their lives are ultimately claimed. Riding down a water slide can be a source of joy for those seeking relief from months of work-related stress. However, the reality is that these slides can prove to be perilous at times. The Schlitterbahn Water Park in Kansas City aimed to boast having the world's tallest slide, and achieved this by constructing the 170-foot-long Varrocked. This achievement surpassed the efforts of many other parks. However, the excitement took a horrific turn when a 10-year-old boy named Caleb Schwab entered the ride and tragically emerged without his head. The state attorney pursued criminal charges against the park, but these claims were dismissed due to insufficient evidence for indictment. Despite the legal outcome, the boy's family reached a $20 million settlement, though the monetary compensation couldn't bring back their lost son. Although the settlement may seem substantial, it pales in comparison to the immeasurable loss of a child. Fortunately, Recognizing the inherent dangers, the bravest slide was dismantled in 2018. Authorities understood that forcing the park out of business was a necessary step to prevent future fatalities. In the realm of treacherous slides, this teenager is considered fortunate, emerging unscathed when others face fatal outcomes or injuries. Getting stuck. Two scenarios that should absolutely be avoided on a slide are getting stuck inside and sustaining an injury. Finding yourself in either of these predicaments is undoubtedly troublesome. A particular incident involved a child becoming trapped in the slide when the door malfunctioned and refused to open. Fortunately, a vigilant staff member located the emergency lever and successfully opened the door after trying various techniques. The resolution wasn't immediate, and during the ordeal, the teenage inside the slide continuously screamed that he was freezing while rescue operations were underway. Despite the challenging circumstances, rescue personnel urged him to remain calm as they diligently worked to extricate him. It's quite a feat for anyone to stay composed in such a challenging situation. Nevertheless, the child managed to keep his composure and was safely released from the slide. Considering the harrowing experience, it's uncertain whether he would be inclined to test his luck on water slides again. Shoot the rapids. Cedar Point Water Park often boasts itself as the premier amusement park globally, boldly asserting its superiority over even Disneyland. If you've had the experience of visiting both parks, refrain from divulging your preference to Mickey Mouse. Instead, share your thoughts in the comments below on which park you find better. However, despite its claims to superiority, Cedar Point faced a significant setback in July 2013 when an accident occurred on the river rafting simulation ride called Shoot the Rapids. Guests on board experienced a malfunction, causing the boat to roll back up to 187 feet down a lift track and collide with the edge of concrete flume. The boat then struck another one and overturned, leaving the riders trapped upside down in the water. The accident resulted from the failure of two safety features from the ride, one designated to prevent backward sliding and the other to maintain the boat on track. With both measures failing, the unfortunate incident unfolded. Remarkably, the ride continued operation until 2016, despite calls for its closure growing louder. Fans were disappointed by the decision, but ultimately, the closure was deemed necessary for the well-being of all parties involved. Slip and slide. While this water slide may appear innocent, it is far from the least dangerous on the list. You might have taken your kids for a ride on it without fully grasping the potential consequences. This particular slide is popular among children for various reasons. Despite its appeal to kids, it has gained notoriety for causing injuries, including paralysis in both children and adults. Individuals, especially those diving into the slide with enthusiasm, may come to a sudden stop in a manner that poses a risk of spinal cord injury. This can lead to long-term consequences such as quadriplegia and paraplegia, as the slide's forward momentum propels the body into the neck, compressing the spinal cord. Despite being designed in 1993, the slide remains largely unchanged today, lacking specific safety standards as it did many years ago. If you weigh about 125 pounds, it's strongly advised not to ride the slip and slide, as doing so puts you at risk of sustaining a lifelong injury. If you like this video, click the next one shown on the screen. I'm sure you'll like it. Thanks for watching.